If I can, just again give honor to the commissioners and for this wonderful opportunity to be with you. We are here today, and I am a family man. I've been married. I have 6 children and 20 grandchildren. I live here present in Castle Rock, and we have a ministry and 4 different items that we have that I would like to present to you today, and then go into a prayer in this limited time that I have. So thank you for the honor of coming and representing you. On behalf of the Holocaust Awareness Day, and I have dual citizenship in Israel, and we have a location in Israel. And the first thing I'd like to show you on the graph on here is, of course, I represent in Douglas County and Elbert County 4 separate businesses employing for over 100 people. The first is called Simchat Torah Beit Midrash, which simply means the joy of God's teaching and instruction. A house of study, otherwise known as the Hebrew Bible College, and they'll go ahead and bring that up right now. That should be on the screen. And that is located off of Main Street and Parker Road there. We have our studio there at that location. We offer affordable classes for Jews and non-Jews interested in studying the Hebrew roots of their Christian faith and the Torah for the Hebrew or the Jewish culture. We are headquartered, again, on Main Street and Parker Road with an international and global outreach. The second business is Torah Television, which has over 30 television stations with a footprint in Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico. Specifically, we own and operate Channel 23 in Denver, Channel 38 in Colorado Springs, Channel 16 in Pueblo, Channel 24 in Fort Collins. Well, they'll be bringing it up just in a second here, okay? And in front of us right here is a Torah Scroll that comes out of Auschwitz and Birkenau, and I brought it. It's over 300 years old. When the Jewish culture was taken in the Holocaust to the death camps, the Jews would hide these inside the trains going there, and they threw them outside the tracks. This is one of the ones we recovered, and in a little bit here, we're going to make it available to anybody who would like to come up and actually see one. It's a rarity to actually see one. There is a shofar and, of course, a prayer shawl that's there. I'm just waiting on right now. In there, we're looking at the television stations that are there. The third business I represent is the International Center for Torah Studies, a Torah Publishing Center. We are located in right off of Lincoln and Dransfeld there in Parker. And we are a full production center, publish, bind, print various books and materials, promotional materials for the general public. And the last one, which is our insignia here, is the next business we have is a Messer Arena, which is a 50,000 square foot arena and event center located between Elizabeth and Kiowa. It is the largest private arena in Western culture horsemanship in the state of Colorado, which includes various types of functions. It sits on 260 acres, located on Highway 86 and County Road 37 in between Kiowa and Elizabeth. It also has a separate meeting rooms and banquet hall with culinary arts to serve corporate meetings for businesses and private venues in Douglas and Elbert counties. As we have here today, and we're showing you that this presentation, I would like to say a prayer and of coverage for all of you to stand for Israel, the Jewish people, and what is happening globally right now. I think we all could use prayer, and we would agree. Amen? If I may. I do not know, do we have the pictures coming up on the screen? Okay, we just need 2 minutes, okay, to do that. I'm going to start with an opening prayer in Hebrew and English, traditionally staying in the Temple of Israel. And it says, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O is the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom forever and ever. On behalf of the Douglas County and the Douglas County Commissioners, I pray for the entire county as a rabbi. Dear Heavenly Father, you are great, mighty, and awesome Adonai, God, the supreme God who bestows beneficial kindnesses and creates everything. You are the master of chesed, of mercy. You, O Lord Adonai, are good and forgiving and abundantly kind to all who call upon you. Help us to honor you today with our work and everything we do. Watch over the Douglas County today and the county commissioners and all that is going on today, Father, and protect them and protect us from harm. Help us to prosper and remember that it is from you that we receive every good and perfect gift. We know not what we face in our near future for America, but you are an omnipotent God. You know all things. You're omnipresent. You are present with us at all times. You're omnipotent. You are powerful. For you are Elohim, the intensification of all power. You are Adonai, the force of God upon this earth. We need not fear for what the future holds, because you have not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. For in the Torah and the Word of God and the Scriptures, it states that you shall not be afraid of terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look, and see the reward of the wicked. Because we have made the Lord, Adonai, who is our refuge. He is the Most High, our dwelling place. No evil shall befall Douglas County, the Douglas County Commissioners, and all of government. Nor shall any plague come near your dwellings. I proclaim it over you. For he shall give you the messengers or angels charge over you, and to keep you in all the ways of government. O Lord, our nation trembles in these days of uncertainty. We need you now more than ever before. Our county needs you more than ever before. Remember the covenant that you made with our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that we would be a beacon of hope and a light to the nations. We stand here before you in repentance, teshuvah, on behalf of our entire nation, our county, Douglas County. We have sinned against you and desecrated your holy name, for your name is great. Father, pardon our iniquity, for it is great. Overlook the sin of our country and of our nation, and erase the guilt. Do not treat us accordingly to our sins or dysfunction. Do not repay us and according to our iniquities, though our iniquities testify as in courtrooms of law against us. Remember your mercies, Adonai, Yeshua, Jesus, and your kindness, for they are from the beginning of the world. Be gracious with us and answer us through, and have those who have no worthy deeds. Treat us with charity for your name's sake. Withhold not your mercy, Lord, from us. May your kindness and your truth, your chesed, always protect us. For you have preserved your iniquities, O Adonai, my Lord, my God, Elohim. You could, and who could survive without you? But there is forgiveness with you, that you may be feared. Let us hope in the Lord, for the Lord there is mercy, and with them, of course, is abundant redemption. Cover all right now. We just cover all the county commissioners. We cover the entire county of Douglas County, standing against anti-Semitism or any movement that would be anti-Israel, the God of Israel, and the Jewish people, and also anyone in this county. He shall redeem us for our iniquities. For you, O Lord my God, we trust you. Let us not be ashamed. Let not our enemies triumph over us. Look forward to your return, when you will bring to us into light the hidden things of darkness, reveal the counsels of everyone's heart. Then each one's praise will come from you. Give us sound wisdom, discretion as we conduct our business today. We tune our hearts to your guidance. For Abba, Father, we stand in need of it. If we are to lead our families, our businesses, our local government, and our nation, our county, Douglas County, we pledge that in all the actions we take, in the attitudes we hold, and the ways we lead, we will only serve only you. We promise to give you all glory, praise, and honor. Amen. 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 And if I may, this is the International Center for Torah Studies. This is our Bible college school here for children. This is our Parker transmission site there off of Main Street and Parker Road in Parker. We have a studio there. Right there is our studio right there. It holds about 200 people upstairs, and we do live television networking globally on these 30 television stations. From there, that little transmission site, we go to the Parker, the Crown site right there. From there, we transmit into Lookout Mountain. And from Lookout Mountain, now we go to Magre Mountain and Cheyenne Mountain, which, of course, is Channel 38 and Channel 16, and Channel 23 in Denver. And a Magre Mountain there, that's our site. This is Milner Mountain up in Fort Collins. This is our tower up there. And that transmits, of course, in Larimer County, Boulder County, and this is also in Pueblo. Goes all the way south into New Mexico by repeat stations all the way down. And so we just welcome you. We thank you. We want to do anything we can on behalf of Douglas County. If you'd like to put anything on these stations, we would like to sponsor you and give you and encourage you all that we like to promote everything that Douglas County represents and in the integrity of your county. And thank you. From there, we move forward, if I could, to the next one. This is Mesa Arena you see here. This is off of County Road 37 and 86. If you have a horse, bring it out. We'll all have a good time out there together. And this is a 50,000 square foot arena. As I said, the office and training facility is there for corporate outreaches and breaks. And we have culinary arts and chefs that are there. On the other side, we have a north, an indoor arena, a stalls, so a north arena, and this particular arena here. Inside of here, we held corporate meetings. We'll show you the inside of it, also the arena itself. Just for 1 second. Thank you for your time, commissioners. Hope you don't mind. This was happening in Yom Kippur last year. How is over 35,000, excuse me, 3,500 people, between 3,500 and 5,000 people came in for training seminars and also prayer for Yom Kippur for the Jewish culture and for Christians and non-Jews. We took to the inside of the arena and transformed it inside of it itself. And now from this point on, the Douglas County can come out here and have all your meetings out there, if you don't mind. Praise God. So it's a wonderful facility. We have a great time. We have a professional, internationally known dance team that comes in and dances with us here, and you can see them up front. One of the dancers is right over here, and that's they're doing country western for, of course, for Douglas and Albert County. Praise God, you can see it there. It's written in Hebrew and in English. With that, I won't take much more of your time because I know we're limited on it, and I've asked for permission. In the Bible, Abraham had a shofar, and he blew the shofar, and it was a ram's horn. And this particular ram's horn represented your heart being bent with God. And so, if you don't mind, if I have the permission of the commissioners to blow it, I don't want to blow my presentation. I just want to blow the shofar. And with that, I'm going to have one of my students come on up, and the audience is welcome to come and see the Holocaust Scroll representing, again, the Jewish people, the land of Israel, and the God of Israel. And we're going to say a prayer over you all, if you don't mind. This contains the first 5 books of Moses, Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy. And it's written in Hebrew. It has stayed this way historically all the way since Moses at Mount Sinai. This was Jesus' Bible, and it's all of our Bibles. Amen? Praise God. If I'm in, we're going to blow the shofar, and then he and I together, he'll say a few words in Hebrew, and then we'll say the Aaronic blessing. And that will be it. And I won't do any more than that. Okay.
Please proceed.
He's going to read just a couple words from the scroll to give honor to the scroll.
Make sure you use the mic.
Okay? This mic here? Yes.
Just turn it on.
אז ישר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני לאמרו ואמרו אשירה לאדוני כנען גן סוס לבעד למה באים עזי המית יד תהיה לוי לישוע איש מלחמה אדוני שמה מלאכתה פירה אדוני ירא מים.
Amen. Together, we just like to pronounce a blessing, and I want to thank, on behalf of Abe and his background, of his Hebrew background, I just want to give honor to you, amen, and also to all the commissioners. This comes from the book of Numbers, chapter 6. It's called the Aaronic Blessing. The high priest did this in the temple, and we'll sing it together. Praise God. Ivarekaka Adonai ve'yishmarekad Yair Adonai panav ve'hihunekad Isa Adonai panav ve'asem leka shalom. To all the county commissioners and all of you at Douglas County, to you, George, to you, Abe, and to you, Laura, and the whole team here. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. From the Prince of Peace, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Thank you very much for this presentation.
Well, thank you so much for that remarkable presentation. And as a point of personal privilege, I'd like to make a few comments about what we've observed in our community recently, and then open it up to the Board of County Commissioners to add their comments as well. And then, if it pleases the board, we'll come down and take a photograph with you, Rabbi, your team, the shofar, and the Holocaust scrolls. But no doubt, as we observe international relations throughout the world, we pause and are significantly reminded of the power of community and supporting all people, but particularly those who are oppressed. You're right. I'm a Christian man, but I recognize our Judeo-Christian heritage, and whether it's Jews, Messianic Jews, Christians, or any member of our faith community, I know we in Douglas County honor and support everyone in our faith community. My name, Abraham, is a Hebrew name after my grandfather, and certainly that was significant for my parents and my parents' parents. So we are greatly pleased that you are here with us. No doubt recently we have observed some negative anti-Semitic literature being distributed in Douglas County, in our municipalities. I'm very thankful that our municipalities have stepped up and recognized that that has no place in Douglas County. We're a place of community, of support, and hopefully of unity, supporting one another, and again, especially those that are oppressed. So again, we thank you for being here with us. Fellow commissioners, any additional comments?
Rabbi Messer, I'd like to thank you for being here, Stefan, for being here as well. I met the rabbi 2 years ago, and his daughter Nicole reached out to me, and they have welcomed me as one of their family members. So thank you. You have brought much peace to my life, and I pray that what you said lasts over Douglas County, this country, and the world, because we have seen division like we have never seen before. And we need to come together because there's too many other things that we need to conquer. And when we're fighting amongst ourselves, that's not going to happen. So thank you for being here, Rabbi.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Teal.
Well, thank you very much, Rabbi, for your, let me try that again. Thank you, Rabbi, for bringing your words of peace to us. Thank you for bringing the written words from 4,000 years ago, written, spoken, sung. The preservation of the holy words is a gift that you give us all. So thank you very much.
Thank you again. So if the Board of County Commissioners will go down, we'll take a photograph with the rabbi and the shofar.
I have my reading glasses, but then I pretend that I could read. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you so much.
You did great. Come on in here, Rabbi.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What an honor. What an honor.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
No, our honor. Thank you.
Thank you. What a blessing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So I want to thank everyone for that indulgence, certainly significant in our community, and I appreciate your respect and attention to the invocation. With that, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 2 p.m. on March 8th. If you'll all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Attorney Ingles, do we have certification of the agenda today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, my office has reviewed all items on today's agenda, and they all meet legal approval.
Thank you. And do any commissioners have disclosures for items on this agenda?
I have none, thank you.
No, sir.
And I have none. With that, I'd like to move into employee recognition. I know Tiny Zappi would like to recognize Krist Kraus for her 20 years with the Clerk and Recorder's Office in the Division of Motor V. Tiny?
Good afternoon. My name is Tiny Zappi, and I am a services manager in our Clerk and Recorder Department with our Motor Vehicle Division. So I just want to start by thanking you, Commissioners, for giving us this opportunity to recognize Christy for her 20 years of service to Douglas County. And I want to thank Christy for all of her years of service. 20 years is a very long time, and then at the same time, it seems like no time at all. Christy started back in 2002, so it wasn't that long ago. At the time, her kids were just babies. One of them not quite born yet, but almost. Now, they're here with us today, and they are grown young adults, very successful. Christy and we haven't aged at all. I will never forget, even then, all of those years ago, how warm and welcoming Christy was to me when I first started. It's not surprising. Christy is known for her big heart, her selfless nature towards those she works with, her family, and her community. Christy is compassionate, and she champions individuality. She is one of the hardest working people I know. She's the first one to arrive every morning and the last one to leave at the end of every day. She puts everyone else's needs above her own. She is also known for her brilliant mind and for challenging the status quo. I admire her ability to remain steadfast in her morals and her beliefs. Christy's strength of character is unmatched. And last, but most certainly not least, Christy is known for the passion she has for her job. Christy has served in many roles in motor vehicle, originally starting in the back line. She then moved to a frontline position where she stayed for many years, allowing her focus on the most important thing in her life, her family. Once her children were a little bit older and a little bit more self-sufficient, Christy knew she was ready to serve motor vehicle in a greater capacity. She then moved into a lead position and shortly thereafter into a supervisor position in our Castle Rock Motor Vehicle office, where she has served the last several years. I could spend hours and hours talking about Christy's accomplishments and achievements and all of the contributions she has made to Douglas County. But the most important thing is the impact that she has made on her staff, on her peers, and on this community. We are here today to recognize Christy for so many years of service to motor vehicle in Douglas County. We are so grateful to have her on our team, and I consider myself incredibly blessed to call her a coworker and a friend. This recognition today is bittersweet, because while we are celebrating this momentous occasion of Christy's 20-year anniversary, Christy has also announced that soon she will be retiring from Douglas County. We are excited to know that Christy's next adventure awaits her in Arkansas, where she will spend her time and a little slower pace, loving on her grandbabies, and spending quality time with her family. While we're excited for Christy to take her next adventure, we want her to know that her impacts here will never be forgotten, and we are forever grateful to have had the opportunity to know her for so many years. Thank you. Let me get that without crying.
Christy has been a natural leader. If you look at the, most of my administrative staff has shown up to say thank you to her. There's some people that make an impression on you that you just remember. About 6 years ago, out of the blue, Christy made a statement to me that I'll never forget. She said, 5 years, she said, we used to not want to come to work. She says, today we dread when Friday comes. And that is a tribute to the culture that she and the rest of this team back there have built. And I can only say thank you to all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have anything prepared. However, I do just want to say thank you all for your support and allowing this type of recognition for your employees, because it means a great deal. And I love this place, and it's a really hard decision to leave. So thank you.
Well, stay put. I know there are some comments that our Board of County, you too, Merlin. We got to honor you up here. Well, you're allowed to go wherever you want. Board of County Commissioners, did you have some comments for Christy?
Christy, thank you for the time that you spent supporting the citizens of this county. I know I've seen you around. You always have a smile on your face, and you're always willing to help people. And I would just like to thank Merlin for the culture that he has brought to the Clerk and Recorder's office, that you are a close-knit group. You all work together so well to serve our citizens, and I'd like to thank you. And if you're leaving to be with grandbabies, I understand. Congratulations on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Teal.
Well, Christy, thanks so much for all the years of service. Very much appreciated. I remember 2002 in Castle Rock, and a lot has changed. So thank you for being here, changing with us, and especially, raising your family here. And I'm sure we will miss you.
Thank you.
So Christy, 20 years. I just regret that we couldn't get you for another 20 more. It sounds like your service has been remarkable, but that is similar to my experience with most of our staff in Douglas County over the last 4 years, is that you in particular, you're a good person and you're really good at what you do. I want to acknowledge your family and your clerk's office family. I know you guys are a family. Man, you don't like when Fridays come? Jeez. I might need to stop by on a Friday afternoon and hang out with you guys. But again, thank you so much for your remarkable service, and a huge thanks to you, Tiny, and Merlin as well for fostering this wonderful environment at the clerk's office. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this is a very special day. So we also have Scott McEldowney, and actually it'll be Amy from Open Space that would like to recognize Jackie Sanderson for her 20 years with the Open Space and Natural Resources Department. Welcome.
So no introduction is needed for Miss Jackie Sanderson. Thank you for this opportunity. In Open Space, we have 3 words to describe Jackie, and I'm sure all of you guys will agree. She is curious, she is courageous, and she is convicted. That's what makes her such a wonderful addition to Open Space, but really to all of our citizens and the little kiddos. Without her influence, man, a lot of people wouldn't appreciate what she does, what she's preserved, And really, what's really important is what she's making we're positioned to be able to do into the future. Jackie has been a good role model for me. I met her years and years ago in a previous career, and she's part of the draw to come here. So not only does she influence citizens, she influences her staff members. Congratulations on 20 years, my friend.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Okay, well, 20 years, that seems like a really long time. I was only 28 when I started. No, I wasn't. I was much older than that. So some of my highlights of Douglas County Open Space working here, the diversity, every single day is different. When you're working for Douglas County Open Space, one day you'll be out in the field, you'll be taking your horse out and monitoring open space properties. The next day you'll be in the office answering the phone and finding out what neighbors to open space are seeing. They're seeing too many rabbits. What are you going to do about the rabbits? Well, they're here. You know, it's really, really different every day. And you know, during the years, I've seen so many new properties being acquired for open space. There are families that want to make sure that their properties are preserved forever and won't be developed. And they want that tradition of their ranching to continue. So some of the properties have been purchased, and some of the properties have actually had a conservation easement on them. And I've had the privilege of working with over 30 landowners and checking on their properties every day to make sure that their natural resources are kept in good condition, that they're not building malls on their property, that they're keeping them in perpetuity in the way that they had wanted or their parents had wanted their property to continue. Also, the volunteers that I've been able to work with, it's hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, people from the community who have offered to help me lead guided hikes, help me lead horseback rides, help with taking adults or school children out on guided hikes, and on and on. It's just been great. Some of the volunteers are bluebird monitors, and others are, you know, have great backgrounds in natural resources and help us put together reports on plants, on animals, on all kinds of things that we find on open space. Trails. When I first started working at Douglas County Open Space, we had one trail, and that was at Columbine Open Space, south of Castle Rock. And now we have way over 100 miles of trails. And during the first years, we had volunteers going out and building these trails and maintaining the trails, and it was fabulous just to get that kind of enthusiasm from people to get out there and work and sweat, and they come back and they feel so good that they've done something like that. And so I love working with our volunteers. We have a very small staff. The number of properties and trails has just really increased incredibly in 20 years. And our staff has gone up a little bit, but not like the large volumes of work to be done. So the volunteers have been great. Trail rides, you know, where else can you take your horse and go monitor properties? Some of these properties are thousands of acres, and to hike all of the fence lines and get around those properties sometimes is really difficult to do. There's a lot of ground to cover. So if you have a horse to use, going up to Cherokee Ranch and monitoring the property up there, you need to be on horseback if you really want to get around the properties and really monitor them and see if they're in good condition and see what kind of wildlife are out there. The partners that I've worked with have been incredible. They've been historic groups interested in the history that Douglas County has preserved. Also school field trips. schools from all over the county and some from outside the county have come and wanted to see what the natural resources are like in Douglas County. The teachers that come out, I really, really admire them. And a lot of the teachers don't have the natural resources and environmental education background, but that's something that I could offer, and then also bring in volunteers to help let the people and the students know. And, I see, students from now 20 years ago and look to see where they are. And, they come to see me and they say, hey, I remember that school field trip. I remember when I was growing up, I don't remember every day in the classroom, but I probably remember all of my field trips that I took. So this is a way of letting the citizens of Douglas County through the years know that we have a lot to offer through our open space program. Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts, I've mentored. This is really cool. I wasn't going to cry. This is one of the coolest things I've done. 115 Eagle Scouts I've mentored to get their projects done. And, that's a big deal when an Eagle Scout finally makes that award ceremony and they've worked their way through the Scout program. And I have a son, and I thought, yeah, I can lead these boys, help them through a project, give them some ideas of what they can do. And working with those scouts, sometimes it takes them a couple years to actually get that project done. And I can see the growth in those scouts in those 2 years that it might take to finish off. And it's been incredible, and I've seen them come back and help other scouts with their projects. And it's really improved Douglas County open space. We've gotten benches, bluebird houses, we've gotten wildlife crossings, and improvements on our historic buildings, and interior and exterior. And it's really been good for me, to work with these families. And seeing the support that they give their sons, in this case sons. And we've had Girl Scout projects too. Not as many, but all kinds of scouts out there. And interpretation is what I really, really enjoy. Coming up with the signs that you'll see at the trailhead. And working with the history people, working with natural resource people, and especially the artists that have, I can say what I want them to do, I can write it all out, and then they will draw the animals, they will draw the plants, they will draw the scenario that I need, or take the photos that I need and put them into nice interpretive signs that we can use to share with the public. And then working with staff. We haven't had big turnover for our open space program. Even though it's been very small, the turnover has been very small too. So I've been here for 20 years. Cheryl Matthews, who just retired, she was with open space for just over 20 years. And I have a couple right behind me, and a couple volunteers who have also been with me for almost 20 years too. So anyway, thank you, Douglas County. I really, really appreciate being able to work here. I never thought I'd work any place for 20 years, but I did. And coming from Steamboat Springs, I didn't think I could find a better place than Steamboat Springs to live, but I was able to find all kinds of wonderful things in Douglas County. It's a beautiful, beautiful county.
Amy?
Commissioners,
Yes.
thank you for all of the thought and intentionality you guys have put into open space as this group and our predecessors. Because of your forethought and your curiosity, you've made having employees like Jackie a reality, and that impact, spot on. Good job.
Well, Amy and Jackie, thank you. Let me open it up to our Board of County Commissioners for some additional comments.
Jackie, I'd just like to thank you for the time and everything you've done for the county. I'm going to see you around again, so I'm going to tell you some more comments. Personally, we have a room full of people, so I'd like to save my comments for later. Thank you.
Commissioner Teal?
Ironically, the thing I would say is the last time I talked to Jackie, she made me late for another meeting. But that's the cool part about working with Jackie is that, you can tell the passion you bring, just the innate curiosity is so much what we need here. There used to be a motto for the county a few years ago that Douglas County is where Denver becomes Colorado again. And I believe that. I think that's the case. So thank you for what you do, because you help bring a lot of the youth of Douglas County back to the Colorado that they don't always get to live in every day.
I try, yeah.
Well, Jackie, I don't know how you encapsulate 20 years in just an afternoon meeting, because most people don't realize that Douglas County is 50% open space. And the achievements that you all have accomplished in your department, it's really a runaway success at a quarter or a fraction of the staff and budget that many other municipalities operate under. So I cannot thank you enough for your service, and I hope we can all continue to be curious, courageous, and committed. Let's give Jackie a big round of applause. Thank you. And with that, we'll move to agenda item number 2, which is citizen comment and organization comments. At this time, you may address the commissioners about any topic, unless it is a topic on the consent or regular agenda. You will be prompted to comment on those items at the appropriate time. Do we have any citizen comment in the room? Yes, please. And you're welcome to just come up. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Graham Cowie. I live at 10235 Kleinbrook Way in Highlands Ranch. I emigrated to this great country from Scotland, where I was born and raised, and I have called Douglas County my home for the last 22 years. Recently, Mr. Kelly Dunaway, who is one of the assistant Douglas County attorneys, telephoned and spoke with my attorney, Mr. Frederick Ginsburg. Mr. Dunaway explained he was prepared to file a lawsuit against me for alleged violations of an agreement to abate, which I entered into with Douglas County in February 2021. He sent a copy of that lawsuit to Mr. Ginsburg, which was forwarded to me. I reviewed that lawsuit. I want you to know it is based on wrong assumptions. I also had the opportunity to watch a YouTube presentation made by our neighbor, Mr. Arnold, in a November 2021 commissioner meeting. His statements about enforcement, although not mentioning me by name, were clearly intended to get the county to believe my wife and I have not been in compliance with the February 2021 agreement. To this day, I have no idea why Mr. Arnold made up the allegations. Neither I nor my wife are ignoring the agreements we made with the county in February 2021. To the contrary, we have done our best to only operate our small business in accordance with the existing ordinances and rules. What is also interesting is that aside from Mr. Arnold and his wife, none of our other neighbors have found any reason to complain about us. Perhaps the fact that there are at least 3 other businesses operating from their residences located on our street may play into this. It is not our intention to call them out, nor will we do so in the future. This entire matter is the result of baseless allegations to the county by our neighbours, Mr. and Mrs. Arnold, that somehow we are violating county ordinances or HOA guidelines. Moreover, Mr. Arnold's assertion in November 2021 meeting that there are times when there are long lines of vehicles in front of our residence does not warrant the slightest response. I wonder if either Mr. or Mrs. Arnold would be willing to sign an affidavit under oath containing the allegations they have made to the planning department staff. If indeed it is the county's intent to pursue litigation with me at the taxpayer's expense, then you should know, for starters, that my wife is and has been licensed under the Pet Animal Care and Facilities Act, or PACFA. I bring this to your attention only to show just how careful she has been to comply with the state law regarding the care of pets, which she watches for others. My wife is also a licensed esthetician. We're in full compliance with the county agreement to abate regarding esthetician services. It should also be noted that any client parks off street on our driveway. If a product sale is made, it is purely incidental to the services provided. While neither my wife nor I have any desire to litigate with the county, we are quite prepared to address the same. In lieu of any such litigation,
Mr. Cowan, I appreciate your comments, but if you can wrap up, please.
Sure, I would just take one more second. I would suggest you might want to explore what, if any, evidence has been produced to date to show that my wife and I have failed to perform to the February 2021 agreement. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, Mr. Cowan, this is public comment.
It's
and
Mr. Cowie, C-O-W-I-E.
Cowie, I apologize, Mr. Cowie. This is your forum, not ours. We're public servants, so you all are our bosses, and so we really respect you coming out and appreciate you taking the time to do that. I don't want to speak to any specifics of your cases, particularly if it's in litigation, but I'll defer to our county counsel if he had any additional comments for us this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That item has been referred to my office. We have filed that case, and we will resolve all issues with the main goal, as the county's goal always is, to gain compliance. And if there is compliance, we won't pursue it any further.
Mr. Ingalls, thank you for that. And I'll just say as one commissioner, if in the course of this litigation you discover that Mr. Cowie is in compliance with our zoning, it would be my expectation that you drop the case. But certainly we greatly value your decades of experience serving our community as our county counsel, and I will defer to you in this ongoing litigation. Mr. Cowie, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Yes, sir. Sure. And if you want to just state your name and address for the record.
All right, I'm Robert C. Marshall from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. I'm coming here today to talk quickly about the Board of Health and your previous comments going back to September about it. Back in September, when I pointed out that this was going to cost a minimum of at least $1 million more in the first year, Mr. Abe Layden basically cut me off because I wasn't allowed to respond anymore and said it was not going to cost 1 penny more in the next 2 years than if we had stayed in Tri-County. Unfortunately, I provided you a rough estimate of what we've already gone over, which is $1.3 to $1.4 million more, which is not a rounding error. Additionally, we find out now that PIRA has sued all 3 counties that were part of Tri-County Health Department for $50 million and wants the proportionate share for Douglas County. And we have the county attorney in the paper saying, well, we don't know that, that's up to Tri-County Health Department. But in the intergovernmental agreement that you all signed, in paragraph 2B, you agree to pay any of the proportionate costs if Tri-County Health Department dissolves in 2022 or 2023. I don't know how you plan to try and slide around that, but that's a pretty difficult clause to say we don't have any responsibility. So now we're talking $15, $16 million at least more than if we had stayed in Tri-County. And I warned about the Board of Health being a group of groupthink. 5 members all voting the exact same way, thinking the exact same way. The Board of Health has lost 2 injunctions, well, 1 temporary restraining order and 1 preliminary injunction in 5 months on the only official act they took in issuing that public health order. I mean, that is just incompetence. So what are you doing to look at the Board of Health? Are you going to spend another $100,000 for the president of the BAOH's prior law firm buddies to litigate it or hire his wife's firm? I mean, that is ridiculous. 2 losing cases in 5 months on 1 official act. And the Board of Health president is still arguing over the injunction that was issued on Friday, saying that, oh no, any business, can have a mask mandate. Well, if that's true, he should go tell the judge that, because that's not what the public health order said. So why is he being deceptive in his public comments? I really think you need to have new Board of Health leadership, and you need to read the order from the court on Friday closely. It's been 6 months since you started this new Board of Health, almost, and the court made it clear you're still just playing health department. Tri-County Health Department's doing everything, and we're paying them an extra fee to do everything than we paid before. So I'd be very careful about wanting to risk with the court declaring the health department as being unlawful and having to start all over again. And I would look at trying to get your money back from Fusion Cell for that plagiarized report. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Marshall. I'll respond to that, and you're welcome to come up to the podium if you'd like. The Board of County Commissioners may have some additional responses. I'm incredibly proud of what this county has done to form its own local public health department. We spent over 2 years dealing with one-size-fits-all mandatory restrictions that cost Colorado over 300,000 jobs. The drastic impact to our economy by these restrictions that were governed by 2 other counties in Tri-County Health really cost us a lot, Mr. Marshall. And so I am incredibly pleased, as are the citizens that I hear from by and large, that they have local control over their public health orders and continuity of services. To specifically address your issue with regard to cost, what I specifically said is we have a $2.5 million budget with Tri-County Health, and that we can avail ourselves of the same state and federal grants that Tri-County Health does, in addition to ARPA funding, which continues to be ignored by the political activists that you seem to be aligning with fairly often, both here and across the street. We're certainly not blind to your activism, Mr. Marshall, but again, we're very thankful for this new Board of Health, and I leave it to the citizens to make their determination whether they support that or not.
May I respond, since you didn't give me a chance to respond at the town hall when you said not 1 penny more over the next 2 years, which is absolutely false.
You've
And
made
you
your
knew it was
comment.
false.
This is public comment. I've made my response to you. If you want to follow up, we can have a meeting. We've had 38.
See, this is the problem. You want to cut people off and you don't tell the truth.
Sir, we've had 38 live town halls with tens of thousands of our citizens, and a vast majority of them support our position. And you're welcome to walk out, but we've responded and addressed every email. Well, today is not a debate, but you can come to maybe the 40th live town hall. Say hi to the activists. Moving on to our next item, well, I guess we'll continue with citizen comment. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Guthrie. I live at 4676 Ponderosa Trail in Roxborough. I'm here representing FACT, which is a community organization focused on calling out extremism, which has really developed into a serious problem here in Douglas County. It's been going on far too long, and one of the reasons is because it's been mainstream now. This county and people who live here and members of the government or representatives of the government are now normalizing that kind of behavior. Hurling of threats, intimidation of elected officials, public health workers, school board members, and others who are just simply trying to make this a better place. By enabling extremism, enabling extremism happens in 2 ways. One is to not speak out about it. The other is to support it either directly or indirectly. On March 9, 2021, a prominent extremist held a rally across the street. During that rally, he said, "If anybody asks me, are you advocating for violence? I'm going to tell you no, but if you want to take our country, it will be for violence. It will be with violence. If you're going to take our way of life away from us, you're not going to do it without blood spilled." A few minutes later, Commissioner Teal, you hugged the extremist and thanked him for standing up and threatening to spill blood and violence. You've never criticized or called out that extremist since that day. Commissioner Layden, your political party has spent over $150,000 supporting the business of that extremist. There are lots of great businesses in Douglas County that are perfectly capable of doing that work, yet your party continues to send money to that extremist. What is it going to take for you people to stand up to extremists here in Douglas County? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guthrie, for that comment. Any additional citizen comment? Yes, ma'am. Again, if you want to just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Carolyn Williamson, and I live at 7970 Hillview Street in Parker. I also am a founding member of FACT, which is a grassroots community organization focused on calling out extremism. This is a serious issue that has been running amok in Douglas County for far too long, and I have lived here for 28 years plus. Commissioner Thomas, you signed a pledge to place philosophical leanings of the extremist Klan Club in front of the leadership of the county, the FEC United Pledge. And let's spring forward. On December 1st, 2021, an extremist stated on his online show, "I went out and bought some lumber this weekend, Max, so I could build the gallows to hang 19 House Republicans." So pretty soon we'll have gallows being built all across the country, and we can take care of all these traitors to our nation. You know, if you're involved in election fraud, you deserve to hang. Oh, sorry, I skipped a page. In fact, many politicians, local and from across the state, signed that FEC pledge. And many of them are not fringe figures. They're well connected to Colorado and Doug Co. GOP. The state's current chairperson last year served as president of an activist group that Altman founded, FEC United. George Brockler, former DA in Arapahoe County and former Republican candidate for Attorney General, calls Altman a friend. Altman was in the Willard War Room with Trump allies on January 6th. For a civilian, Altman wields substantial influence among Colorado Republicans. Last month, an extremist group hosted a town hall with the who's who of election conspiracy theorists. This was at the Rock Church, right here in Castle Rock. With the local extremist sitting on the stage, another extremist named Smith suggested the hanging of Colorado Democratic Secretary of State. The hanging of our Secretary of State. To applause in a church. "You may know me as the #1 most dangerous election denier in Colorado," Smith said. He then said, without proof, that he had evidence of a criminal election conduct by Griswold. This brought chants of "lock her up" from the crowd. Then, also in the church, he more than hinted at ignoring one of the 10 commandments. You know, if you're involved in election fraud, then you deserve to hang. So my question is, what is keeping you from speaking out against these extremists? You are horrified at these anti-Semitic things tossed on porches, which I am too. How is this any different? What is it going to take for you to call these people out? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williamson. Did the board want to respond at all?
If I could, thank you, Commissioner Layton. I signed a pledge to an organization with principles such as standing up for parents' rights to take care of their children, for standing up for the right to be able to practice religion as we choose. Those were principles that I pledged to stand for.
With a militia group that comes to intimidate us at school.
Ma'am, I listened to you peacefully. I'd like you to listen to my response.
I don't listen to traitors.
Let's just be clear. The pledge that I signed was that I would honor my conservative principles, and that if I did not, I would expect the people to hold me accountable for those principles. And that is what I signed. I have never been at any meeting where I have asked to end anyone's life. If you want to find me someplace, you'll find me with Rabbi Messer on Saturday morning with his family. Thank you, Commissioner Layton.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Anything, Commissioner Teal?
No, actually, we have a longstanding tradition here in Colorado that when citizen comment is called, everyone is welcome to come forward and speak, share their hearts, share their mind, share their views, regardless of how, regardless of their views. And I have no further comment beyond that.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. And I would just echo that. The citizens are our bosses, and so we're here to listen, and I always welcome disagreement. I appreciate respectful contrast, and that may not always be the case, but I really appreciate when people come and spend their time with us to share how they feel. I'll just say that I'm not a believer in extremism either, and I think the rhetoric in our political discourse has been very concerning for regular moms and dads like the people I represent. That's why I'm here. I represent moms and dads. I am a dad. I'm a father of 3. And most of the dads I know, most of the moms I know, they're tired of politics. They're tired of hearing noise. So I'm committed to unification, working together, and I think in this time of extreme conflict, we should really do our level best to engage in respectful discourse, even when we disagree, but we do welcome that. So with that, are there any additional citizen comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Tom Yondor from 981 Oakwood Drive here in Castle Rock. What historians call the British invasion began on February 4th, 1964, when the Beatles landed in New York City. It changed our culture. Now, many have seen pictures of their landing and their appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. The pictures show young girls and teenagers screaming, crying, grasping their faces with both hands. Some are passed out on the stage. Now, what would cause these young ladies to behave in such a fashion? I read a commentary on this, which said that none of these girls, would act that way if they came in the presence of a single beetle by themselves, right? You wouldn't act that way. So what the heck, why are they acting that way? And it must have had something to do with the way the crowd around them was behaving, right? In some respects, maybe they were showing that they were also incredibly moved and showing how much they were moved by also acting this way, showing in a way that they belong with that group. I don't know how to use, I'm too old to know how to use my computer. Well, I'm reminded of that scenario as I see pictures of political gatherings in America today, only it's adults doing the acting out, and they're not singing, "I want to hold your hand." They are chanting, "Hang somebody," "Put somebody in jail," that kind of thing. And they are often displaying, surrounded by other people who are displaying symbols of Nazism or slavery, that kind of thing. Or it's other adults who just stand there saying and doing nothing while this kind of thing goes on in the United States of America again. So I guess I have a prayer, another prayer, excuse me, Rabbi, that you folks will find, to the extent that you agree with me about extremism, as the chair just noticed, that you'll do something. I know it's tough. I know it's politically difficult to stand up, but you, in your heart, know that this kind of thing is bad for our kids, bad for America. So I hope you'll find, and it takes courage, and I hope you'll draw a line, stand up, set a different tone. We need you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Youngdorf. Appreciate you being here. Additional citizen comment? Okay. Oh, I see. Yes, sir.
My name is Dale Lake. I live at 702 Quarry Road in MacArthur Ranch. That's adjacent to Lone Tree, and this is regarding the zoning resolution amendment DR 2022-001. I'm opposed to that because...
Dan, I thank you for that. That is actually on our agenda, and so we will save that. I'm sorry, our public hearing agenda. So when we get to that public hearing item, you'll have an opportunity to respond at that time. I'm sorry. I'm getting it. Mixed messages. Oh, it is not. Okay, okay. Sorry, our county manager was signaling that maybe that was coming up. It is not coming up, so please proceed.
As I said, I'm opposed to the zoning resolution amendment. It's going to allow businesses to build buildings up to 3,000 square feet where they're currently 1,500 square feet. That is like a 50-foot by 60-foot building, and it could be plopped down in any or all of about 80 or so properties in MacArthur Ranch, and that would change the character of our neighborhood, and that's why my wife and I came out here 25 years ago. It's very quiet, and adding the businesses there would add noise and traffic. We are currently at 25 miles an hour, and I'm certain speed bumps would be required when we get more traffic, though. Our roads would become less attractive to walkers and horseback riders in MacArthur Ranch, which is used for recreation not only by us residents, but nearby neighborhoods. It's very quiet and lightly trafficked. The walkers and riders have to use the road surface, as there is no shoulder or sidewalk anywhere, and that's not a problem now because of the light traffic. MacArthur Ranch has one and only one entrance, and that's a very positive thing for us. It keeps the traffic very low. And businesses would want another way in, and I can see a possibility of another way in, and I think that would be very, very detrimental. Crime would likely increase. Fire risk would certainly go up with more and more people coming in and out of the neighborhood. We have no fire hydrants. We're on well water. And then property values would be negatively affected. And so that's why I oppose this zoning resolution amendment.
Mr. Lake, thank you for that comment, and my apologies. When we do identify that date, it'll be noticed, and we invite you to come back and also share your comments at that time.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you for being here. Additional citizen comment?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Bryant. I live at 460 West Surrey Drive in Castle Rock. It's Surrey Ridge Estates. So we're at the north end of Douglas County. And I'm here in opposition of the amendment DR 2022-001. I'd also like to say that I'm a real estate broker. I have been for about over 25 years, and I feel that the proposed amendment is something that is detrimental to property values, and I feel quite strongly about this. I really do feel that I'm qualified to talk to that. I think changing a building or proposing buildings from 1,500 square feet to 3,000 square feet, as a previous gentleman said, that's a large building with a big footprint, in neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks, that have horses. It would bring increased traffic. I think that's a safety issue. I think the building with just 2 employees on it basically would be something that would attract businesses. I think the way that the amendment is written is to perhaps make a correction to existing home businesses, but I think that this is not really going to work the way that perhaps the county thinks that it will. I think it will. If you've got a great big building like that, and you've got just two people working in that building, and you've got large trucks, you've got large trailers, What kind of businesses are they going to be? It's not going to be an accountant. They don't need that much space. I think the chemical storage that is also proposed is something that is perhaps not anything really anybody wants to live next to. And the size of the trucks and the trailers, I think, are also a safety problem. They're very large. These are not just pickups. These are moving size vehicles. And I don't know anybody that wants to really live next to a property that is like that has those kind of vehicles. The other thing that comes to mind that in our specific neighborhood is that we have one small tunnel to the north, we have one to the south, we have a large open space to the left, to the west of us actually, that sort of connects over the hill, so to speak, to MacArthur Ranch. And if there was a big fire, such as in the Marshall Fire, it would be very, very difficult for us to leave the neighborhood. And if there were all those trucks and trailers and people working there, with every home having the right to have that much, to have a large building and trucks and trailers, it would be very, very difficult for us to evacuate. I mean, I really do feel that that is a safety issue. If you want to come by and look through our neighborhood, I'm happy to show you through that, but I think that's quite valid. So basically, I'm just asking you to not pass this, not to do this. I'm just really opposed to it. I think it's detrimental to our neighborhoods and to our property values and to our safety. So thank you.
Ms. Bryant, thank you for being here with us and sharing your comments. I'll also add that in addition to that hearing item, you can also submit written comments by email, call, and all of that is captured by our community development team, placed in our public packets, and those are on the website and available for anyone to review. But thank you for continuing to engage. We appreciate that.
And Commissioner Layden,
Yes.
I'm being texted by planning that this is actually on the agenda today, the last item on your public hearing agenda. We're still on the business meeting agenda, but according to Jeanette Bear, we're now getting testimony about item F on your regular agenda for the public hearing.
Okay, so let's reserve any additional public comment with regard to that item F on our public hearing for that public hearing item, which will be following this hearing. Yes.
If I could make a comment, please. So the item F is project file 2021-007, and they are here for 001, which is the home occupations, which will allow larger buildings on their property. So it is a different item. Item F is about setbacks. They are talking about the home occupations that will change the size of garages.
Planning is now retracting this. We are certainly talking about pending zoning applications, but if it's not on the agenda, you're welcome to accept it as public comment.
Okay.
Or did we, when we posted the referral, did we actually do what the commissioners had directed staff to do? Because I got to tell you, I'm starting to wonder, hearing these comments, I'm starting to wonder if staff actually executed what they were instructed to execute. So I would like to follow up on that when we get done with our meetings.
Well, let me just say, we welcome all public comment. We just want to do it by the rules, make sure that we're observing that correctly. But any and all comment will be captured and included in our decision-making process. Any additional public comment? Yes, ma'am.
So can we discuss 001 then? I didn't quite get what the resolution is.
We are on 001, I think, because we're not on 007. Is that correct? I'm addressing DR.
So, ma'am, what we're going to do, I apologize. I'm going to call for a recess to confer with our county council and just confirm that we're abiding by our internal rules here. We'll reconvene in 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much for your patience. I appreciate that. We have a very full agenda today and with a lot of interesting items. It's a full room as opposed to an empty room, so we appreciate that. I'm going to ask Katie Ryder or CJ Gates from staff just to perhaps share a little bit about this particular item and then options for public engagement.
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. This is Katie Carter representing Community Development. The application that the citizens are making comment on is currently on referral. It is DR 2022-001. It is revisions to home occupations. It's on referral till tomorrow, so on public comment until tomorrow. There's a public workshop tomorrow in this room at 4 p.m. for citizens to come and also make comments. There is staff in the room as well if there are any questions that they'd like to give to staff right now. And then following the referral period, staff will be scheduling a workshop, a public work session with the county commissioners to go over the referral comments and all the public comments that we did receive. It's not been scheduled for public hearing at this point in time for the board to take any action on this amendment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Katie. So what we'll do is just provide as many opportunities for engagement as possible. I know we do have some families here that have been very patient, so thank you for staying here with us. But we are in that item on our agenda of citizen comment, and so we're going to continue to be open to that. So if there's additional citizen comment on this item, I'm sorry, ma'am, come on back up, and you're welcome to share your thoughts with us. And again, that referral option is also available for you.
My name is Mimi Nature. I live at 9755 Heather Drive, Castle Rock, Colorado. I'm speaking in reference to DR 2022-001. And I was so shocked to hear about this, I can hardly say. But before you go forward, who sponsored this? I think you need to address that, and I hope now you have people. Who profits from this idea of larger buildings and capacities in small neighborhoods? What is the benefit to the county? Nobody has even begun to address it in any of your writings. And how are you going to implement this, much less the costs involved with it? Is this taxpayer involved? I think the last thing I have for my neighborhood, which is Surrey Ridge Estates, is we have a declaration of protective covenants, which specifically says that we're only allowed to have residential purposes. My understanding of Colorado law is if zoning questions against covenants which go with the land, it's the more restrictive that always continues. So if that's the case, I think Surrey Ridge Estate should be exempt from this whole rigmarole. And if not, then you're opening it up to legal question for the county and Surrey Ridge residents for perpetuity. So your attorney's here, isn't it? The attorney for the county?
Ms. Mitcher, if you want to wrap up your comments, we're not doing questioning right now.
If you could answer that question, that's the only, I think that if I'm correct, that covenants hold more than zoning, then it's a moot point for Surrey Ridge Estates. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitcher. And I think we have Steve Koster here from staff that also wanted to follow up and provide some additional insight. Mr. Koster?
Hi, Commissioners. Yeah, Steve Koster for staff. So Doug asked me to review the two different, what's going on with these two different applications. The application coming forward today is about development standards in all of our residential zone districts. And in some zone districts that are, where lots are less than 4.5 acres, where today we allow garages, this is just about garages for cars, 1,000 square foot size garages, we would now allow 3,000 square foot size garage down to 1 acre in size. So that change is just about garages. The home occupation regulations, and that change affects zone districts where we do not currently allow Class 2 home occupations. And the item that will be heard at some future date, DR 2022-001, that talks about all the zone districts where we already allow 3,000 square foot garages. And the change there is that For a Class 2 home occupation, currently in an accessory structure, you can use up to 1,500 square feet of the square footage of an accessory structure for your Class 2 home occupation. What is proposed for public comment right now is a change that would increase that to allow a Class 2 home occupation to occupy a full 3,000 square feet of an accessory structure. It could be 3,000 square feet of a barn. It could be the entire 3,000 square feet of a detached garage, but it is independent from what is going on today, which affects the zone. The change that's happening today affects the zone districts where we don't allow Class 2 home occupations. I hope that helps. I also want to give a plug for the workshop that we're having tomorrow on that DR 2022-001, and I believe it's going to end up being in this room actually at 4:00 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll have staff there to talk with folks about those proposed regulations. And that's why we're taking comments on them right now, so that we can get that public comment and then bring it to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Acosta. Yeah, we really welcome those comments. And tomorrow at 4, you'll have an opportunity to ask all your questions, get engagement with staff. This is just public comment, but you're certainly more than welcome to continue with public comment today if you would like. Are there any other citizen comments?
I'm Keith Tillman. I live at 476 MacArthur Drive, talking about the DR 2022-001 that we were made notice of. And my first comment might be the process that we became aware of it, being that we don't have a formal HOA, it's a civil association. We were on the referral list, but as 300 other agencies were, many of which didn't pay this any attention. When we did read this, it was weeks after the period started, we realized it had the dramatic impact potentially on our rural residential area. And we're a little behind the 8 ball. We let all our homeowners know. There's 70-some homeowners in MacArthur Ranch. Almost half showed up to an emergency meeting that we just had on a Sunday, and they were very, very concerned. I know that many of them have given you some letters outlining most of our concerns. As Dale before me also went through, were the potential for the wildfire and urban interface areas that rural residential is, and what the potential increase in the exposure to these areas could be. But most important, I think, where most of our residents are here in rural residential zoning, not a mixed-use zoning. This seems to have the impact of allowing more businesses in our particular area. You've already heard about some of the limitations in our area, and that's similar to many of the other rural residential. This seems to us like changing the rules of the game after you've purchased your property. Please hear our concerns that this is helping increase the amount of commercial operations, traffic issues in areas that were not meant to have commercial operations there, even if they are just home businesses. We don't know who would even enforce some of these potential the limitations here. That's not clear either. We will be at the meeting tomorrow giving further help on this and input, but I did want to express from MacArthur Ranch residents directly our great concern about this potential change, and look forward to working with you in the county. So please keep rural residential. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. It's nice to see you, and certainly appreciate you being here. I think we often say we don't do things to people, we do things with people, and so rest assured, that's why we're having the workshops. But any additional citizen comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Bronca McLaughlin. We've lived for 40 years in MacArthur Ranch. I want to make a comment here, Commissioner Layton, that you said about Tri-County Health. It's not a fit one situation. This home occupation does not fit MacArthur Ranch. Now you're saying it's going to be a blanket, And, what's the difference between reviews by special review and then making this blanket going? This is not right. And of course, we'll come tomorrow, but don't forget, does not fit every single residential community. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Appreciate that comment. Additional citizen comment?
My name's Allison Biggs, and it's Allison with one L because it always gets misspelled. So, and I live at 9293 Heather Drive in Castle Rock, but with Surrey Ridge Estates. In the interest of time, I will not repeat everything that my predecessors who are opposed to 2022-001 have said, because they're right on target. One size does not fit all. Many of us moved to this area for a way of life that I see this proposed change having a huge potential to destroy. We don't have sidewalks, we don't have streetlights, we don't have fire hydrants. We have a lot of horses, we have a lot of children who walk to school buses with no sidewalks. That's dangerous. We also are finding that we have a whole lot of wildlife that we didn't used to have because the open space that we were so concerned about is being developed. So the elk and the bears and coyotes, we've always had coyotes, but a lot of other wildlife is coming to visit us in Surrey Ridge Estates, and we welcome them. But it also causes a lot of traffic problems when people drive too fast. And if we're going to have 3,000 commercial foot buildings in our area, there's going to be business traffic coming in and out of those areas, and they aren't going to be necessarily aware of the wildlife we have. Wear and tear on roads, is the county going to pay for that when we have increased traffic to support those? I would echo the question, what has occurred to cause this proposed change, and why is it needed? The commercial buildings that are proposed for this thing have a footprint that's larger than some of our homes, many of our homes. It would allow storage in our neighborhood of unspecified number of vehicles and trailers, which are huge, and I would echo the concern about the safety if we have to evacuate in any kind of an emergency. In the interest of time, I did write you all a letter that I emailed on March 4th, and it has more detail about many of my other concerns. One other one that I do have is that the way this is written, it has opportunity for many unintended consequences that I don't think have been thoroughly thought through or identified. And I would encourage that we have enough time, and you have enough time, to consider what other kinds of things might happen if this is enacted the way it is. I think it opens a whole lot of doors that we perhaps don't want to walk through. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Biggs. Additional citizen comment? Okay, going once, going twice for any additional citizen comment in the room. Troy, do we have anyone online?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I do have one online comment that will be from Len Witten, and you are unmuted. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Len Witten. I'm from Highlands Ranch. As a resident of Highlands Ranch, Commissioner Layden reminded me the other day that I have an assigned representative commissioner, and that is Commissioner Thomas. So, Commissioner Thomas, I'm requesting that you, as my representative, forcefully and immediately denounce Joe Altman for enthusiastically supporting Russia and their attack on the Democratic Republic of Ukraine, and renounce your pledge to FEC United as an extremist organization. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Witten. Any additional comment online, Troy?
I have no additional online comments, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, appreciate all of the robust citizen comment today. With that, we will move to item 3 on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. And I will open that up for any public comment. Is there any public comment in the room for any item on the consent agenda? Up to the Board of County Commissioners for any further discussion and or a motion.
I have a motion to approve all the requests in items A through Q of the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a first and second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that carries. With that, we will move into item 4 of our regular agenda. Only took a couple hours to get to our first agenda item. Thank you to everyone for your patience today. So our first item on our regular agenda is a development partnership agreement between Douglas County and Lockheed Martin Corporation with a county contribution of $500,000. Katie Ryder from staff.
Hi, Commissioners. Happy to be back in front of you. Katie Carter, representing Community Development. This is a development partner agreement with Lockheed Martin Corporation, a request for that. Lockheed Martin is developing a new manufacturing incubator lab known as the Ignite Lab, and the partnership agreement would provide $500,000 of county contribution towards that lab. The purpose of the Ignite Lab is to provide an incubator space for companies from across the state and the region and small businesses in the county to gain access to the aerospace and defense industry supply chain and to grow the local economy. The proposal also consists of Lockheed Martin working with area secondary educators to further develop the science, technology, engineering, and math talent pipeline in Douglas County. In order to demonstrate the public benefit of the investment, the agreement requires Lockheed Martin, in partnership with Northwest Douglas County Economic Development Corporation, to report on the outcomes of the lab, including the information pertaining to the number of businesses using the lab, the number of new jobs created from it, new small business expansion opportunities, and the outcomes from higher education events. Staff worked with the Attorney's Office to draft the agreement, and it may be approved by the board as it complies with the county approval standards and procedural guidelines. Amy Sherman with Northwest Douglas County EDC is here today, as are some representatives from Lockheed Martin, and I believe they are prepared to address the board as well. I'm available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Sherman.
Thank you, Katie. Amy Sherman, President and CEO of the Northwest Douglas County Chamber and EDC, 300 Plaza Drive, Suite 225, Highlands Ranch, 80129. I'm here today to support Lockheed Martin's proposal for Douglas County to partner with funding on the Ignite Lab. Today's actually a great day for this project as it's Colorado Aerospace Day. As we speak, there's an expo downtown with over 35 aerospace companies looking to partner with each other, and the governor is doing a proclamation today on the importance of the industry in Colorado. A little bit about Lockheed Martin. They have over 11,000 employees in Colorado with the main campus at Waterton Canyon, just over in Jefferson County. Douglas County, though, has 3,100 employees living here in our county, and Lockheed's been expanding into Douglas County for the last several years, a huge economic benefit into our commercial buildings in Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree. Most recently, they leased a tower at the Lucent campus at C470 in Lucent. The investment is over $60 million into one tower with 200,000 square feet. There eventually will be 900 employees in this tower. Public-private partnerships are a key to economic success, and the Ignite Lab is a perfect example of this. Without the partnership with Douglas County, the Ignite Lab may not have happened. Even if Lockheed Martin decided to do this lab in this concept, it could have been at any Lockheed Martin location. We would like it here in Douglas County, not in, say, Alabama. Because of this partnership with Douglas County, our community is at the top of the list for Lockheed Martin suppliers and STEM outreach activities, a huge opportunity for our businesses and our students. The fact the lab is happening, the fact that it is happening here in Douglas County, and the fact that Lockheed Martin is committing to work with Douglas County businesses and students greatly increases the chances of manufacturing happening and Lockheed Martin programs being placed here in Douglas County in the future. It also increases the chance of Lockheed Martin working with Douglas County businesses. It is certain that this increases opportunities for students that Lockheed Martin works with for outreach, student projects, and internships. The increased activity created by the Ignite Lab means more people traveling from other locations to do things in this lab and stay in our area hotels and use our restaurants and shop at our local businesses. Additionally, the outreach and partnerships with Douglas County businesses are successful in winning new business and the increased economic activity and potential jobs in Douglas County. Finally, Douglas County is now at the top of the list to be considered for new business opportunities that fits this concept of the Ignite Lab. There have already been conversations within Lockheed Martin about working programs out of this Ignite Lab just because of this partnership. We have a strategy at Northwest Douglas County Chamber and EDC. It's an economic development strategic plan with a goal that says we identify opportunities to develop an aerospace campus that includes key partners supporting our supply chains and key locations for the aerospace industry. We believe the Ignite Lab will support these efforts for our organization as well as other
Thank you so much, Amy. Did you have anyone here from Lockheed Martin that wanted to share with us? Welcome, Mr. Rice. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Joe Rice with Lockheed Martin, and I really want to thank the Commissioners, all three of you, as well as the staff, and of course Amy, for working with us to develop this concept. This is a result of conversations that we have been having for a couple of years. Particularly, again, I have to give a shout out to all three Commissioners for always asking, what can we do to grow aerospace in Douglas County? What can we do to support our small businesses, and what can we do to support partnerships with Lockheed Martin? So it really is all three of your results, or all three of you are why we are here, because you proactively have advocating for your community and for your residents. Commissioner Thomas, I know there is one part of this agreement that you disagree with, and I absolutely respect that. It's a principled disagreement, but I hope that we can still thank you for the support and the other parts of this agreement that you have helped bring together. So certainly understand reasonable people can disagree on certain things. And as I just want to quickly cover, Amy hit some of the highlights with how many employees we have. But a lot of people aren't aware that Lockheed Martin has such a presence here, and what we and other companies, big, small, and everywhere in between, do in partnership. And just a few of the highlights, we do things here right down the road that your residents and citizens are involved with and work on that people use every day and may not realize it. Some examples are weather satellites, GPS satellites, but of course we also do a number of national defense systems, and we do exploration spacecraft, both robotic and NASA's next vehicle to take American astronauts back to the moon and onto Mars, right down the road here. And that was always the challenge that you all asked us to work on, is right down the road here. And you wanted some of it here. And so we have put, because of good growth, because of the supportive environment in the state and your county, we have put things in Douglas County. But this Ignite Lab concept is something we've been kicking around for a while, and that was not a sure thing. And it was something that was kind of on the bubble, and it's a new way of doing things. I should mention that we have a lot of labs, but this is a lab that would be kind of a different speed, right? We work with a lot of government contractors. We work with a lot of larger companies like telecommunications companies, commercial entities, but they have long procurement cycles, right? Very few of them decide today or they want a satellite tomorrow. That is starting to change. There are some parts of the market where things are wanting to go very fast, and that's what would happen here and would be here versus anywhere else. So that is what the Ignite Lab is. And I just want to address incentives, always a controversial topic, and again, very reasonable to have disagreements on it. I would assert that with Lockheed Martin particularly, incentives drive growth. They don't go to profit. This is something that was not going to happen without this discussion and agreement with Douglas County. And besides this example, just one other example of the role and appropriate role of incentives, in my view, is just one example that I was asked to share is a few years ago, there was a large government program that was located in another state. Expenses in that state were getting we're getting out of control. It was getting to be very expensive there and losing cost competitiveness. the government was looking at those cost lines and asked us to look at what we could do. We went back and worked with a number of state and local partners on what could we do. The point here is the incentive went to enable that move to happen. It did not go to Lockheed Martin. It went to lower our costs to the government to move the program, and the government therefore said, okay, the financial lines crossed, we can do it now. So that program moved here. And Colorado got the jobs because of that. So that's what was the win in it for Colorado. So again, I think there's always different applications of incentives, but I would argue that the ones we're doing here today are incentives that are something that would not have happened without the partnership. And all three of you, again, even if there's some parts of this that I think you can respectfully disagree with. And with that, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, happy to address any questions or concerns, but thank you very much for your time and for your staff for working with us on this program.
Rice, thank you so much for that presentation. Are there any members of your team here that you would like to introduce?
I have our facilities director, Tim Milliken, is here, and certainly that's where a lot of the stats that Amy used came from, and if there's any questions, any of the three of us are willing to address any questions or concerns anyone has.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Rice. Any questions for Mr. Rice, Ms. Sherman, or members of the Lockheed team? Okay. Well, hang tight. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot of robust discussion, but this is less of a question and more of a comment that I was incredibly thrilled to go out with Commissioner Thomas and many other elected officials from Douglas County to Florida for the Lucy launch to the Jupiter asteroids, and it was just a phenomenal opportunity to engage with Lockheed and really understand the level of involvement that you have here and the footprint that you have. And of course, our recent opportunities to engage with Tim, we're just thrilled to spend time with Tim and to see all of the wonderful things that are happening in and around our county associated with Lockheed. I wanted to give our county manager an opportunity, also a member of staff, to share with us his perspective, because this was a concept that we heard about and was brought back to our county manager, and I think our county manager had a somewhat immediate response to this.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think what as staff we're excited about, or really the third, fourth, and fifth whereases in the agreement, the potential partnership with universities, with other businesses, with other aerospace companies, and really seeing where that could lead. So with working with our EDCs, with Amy and Frank and others, looking forward to what partnerships that may provide. But happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Doug. You know, one of the issues that I know we have to articulate when it comes to public-private partnerships, which we're passionate about, is that public benefit component. And I might ask that same question of Lance Ingalls, our county counsel, but maybe we could begin with you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The trick in this agreement was Douglas County is authorized to spend general fund dollars and public dollars for public benefit. And so you can't simply partner with a corporation. You need to establish a public benefit. And Lockheed has agreed to provide a report at least annually documenting what that is. There's many things contemplated, partnerships with the school district and other things, but how that plays out is going to be documented for you, so you'll have a very clear record of what you've accomplished. And so the promises are impressive. The future looks bright, and you'll be getting a report documenting exactly how it plays out.
That supports that public benefit. Well, I appreciate that. With that, do we have any additional comments or questions from commissioners for the applicant or staff? Okay, with that, I will open up this item for citizen comment. Is there any citizen comment on this item 4A? Seeing none in the room, is there any citizen comment online?
Thank you, Commissioner. I just had a hand raised. This would be Bradley Treed. Bradley, you're unmuted. Go ahead. Bradley Treed, go ahead. Okay, we'll come back to him. I did have another hand raised from Bobby Hillard. Bobby, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. I wanted to express that I.
And Ms. Hillard, if you're able to just state your name and address for the record, please.
Bobby Hillard. I'm in Lone Tree. Do you need my exact address?
Normally, we ask for your address.
7806 Erevan Court. And I'm calling to encourage you to vote no on this. I see that you have found a way to make or to identify some public comment, or excuse me, some public benefit, but the level of public benefit seems like a very niche group. So also, I mean, I'm looking at, I don't necessarily agree with that. For instance, I'm involved in several different businesses myself, small businesses, and I would not benefit from this incubator at all. So I think the benefit is more for Lockheed Martin and all of these other aerospace companies. So perhaps they should partner with another company in their industry to get this, to get the benefit from this incubator. I'm guessing they're going to find their new work staff from this. But anyway, so I would disagree that there is a common public good from this. And then I also am concerned in general about this type of use of taxpayer funds. It seems taxpayers could, if there's really no better way to use our taxes, perhaps they could be considered a surplus and refunded to us in the spirit of Tabor. At least one of our commissioners, George Teal, has signed the pledge for Colorado Union of Taxpayers to refund or to uphold the spirit of Tabor in refunding any surplus funds. But I would ask that all of you, I know you did a tax decrease earlier this year, but again, just we have a lot of increased expenses going on, so giving $500,000 to a company that makes over $6 billion bottom line just doesn't seem like a good use of funds. And I'd encourage all three of you to vote no on giving what is actually, impactful to the citizens of this county to a company that could really, it sounds like, pay for this on their own. So thank you for your time.
Ms. Hillard, thank you for your comment. I would invite you to stay with us. Our applicants may actually be responding to your comments following any additional citizen comment on this issue. Troy, is there any additional citizen comment online?
Thank you, Commissioner. We're going to go back and try Bradley Treed. Bradley, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes. Hey, Commissioners. Bradley Trady here. I live at 6497 Mountain Manor Court in Parker. Commissioners, thank you for your hard work you continue to do on a daily basis. Lately, I've been watching the three of you squabble about different agenda items with spending, and I want to remind you of your pledge to each of us in the county for being fiscal responsible. The project for Lockheed Martin is pure wasteful pork barrel spending. They made over $9 million gross profit last year. Why do they need money from Douglas County taxpayers? So to those people who want this built from Lockheed Martin, what will be our return on investment for the county? Yeah, jobs, and they mention eventually, but what time frame does that mean? And will this generate any new revenue for the county? If so, how much is projected and how many years will it take to recoup this investment? Now, using Internet Archive's ability to see websites even after they've taken down, I want to remind all of you of your campaign promises from your websites, with the exception of Commissioner Teal's website, which happens to still be live. Commissioner Thomas, on your prior commissioner campaign website, you stated, Laura understands that your taxpayer dollars are valuable, and that is residents of Douglas County, you believe that every dollar should be spent wisely and responsibly. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas, for continuing to drive fiscal responsibility. Commissioner Layden's website, it read, fiscal accountability for Douglas County. The hardworking people of Douglas County should get to keep the money that they have earned. I will fight against tax increases and eliminate wasteful spending within our government. So, Commissioner Layden, are you going to fight to eliminate this wasteful spending of Lockheed Martin? And Commissioner Teal, on your campaign website, it reads, George is a supporter of Taxpayer Bill of Rights and has a record of being a strong fiscal conservative. As your county commissioner, George will cut taxes, reduce fees, oppose any new renewal of existing sales taxes, and will be a steadfast defender of the taxpayers. Commissioner Teal, please continue to be my defender. And then I'd like to just say that, using these words from Commissioner Teal's campaign statement, I need all three of you to be a defender of my tax dollars and stop this wasteful spending. Is this really something that needs to be built with our funds? So, commissioners, while I love capitalism and I stand for it, this I do not support. And I ask if you could please put your fiscal responsibility hat on and vote against this wasteful pork barrel spending of our tax dollars and show your Douglas County taxpayers that you can live up to the fiscal responsible campaign statements that you promised each of us. Thank you very much.
Mr. Treaty, thank you for your comments. We certainly appreciate that, and I would invite you to hang out with us as well. We may have some responses for you from the applicant. Troy, any additional comments online?
That will conclude the online comment.
Okay, just want to thank all of our citizens for engaging with us on this item. Want to turn it to Amy Sherman and Lockheed for any responses on these particular items.
Thank you, Amy Sherman. I can't speak to the timeline, but I can speak to the discussion surrounding helping the small businesses of Douglas County, that we would hold events to teach them how to do business with Lockheed Martin, and a whole procurement training program for the businesses in Douglas County. So while people may not think their business could be related to the aerospace industry, if they would join us for some of these training sessions, then they might find out that they do have a place with Lockheed Martin and Douglas County. So that's the small business connection that I wanted to speak about.
Well, and Amy, let me just follow up with that. So I'm trying to think through the lens of a citizen who might say, we heard some mention of this, that they may not have a direct connection to aerospace. You in your many years, not only in Douglas County, but leading economic development throughout the region, could you help provide some information and concepts around your lens and how you view that from a business perspective when you're able to partner with an aerospace
I think there's a
like
supply chain issue that we're going to work with our small businesses and current supply chain folks in Douglas County to do more business with Lockheed Martin. But then there's also the talent pipeline. So we do a lot with workforce and workforce training and going through the elementary, high school STEM programs to get them involved and interested in aerospace at a younger age, I think will help us with our workforce issues later. So I know I have a child that's going to engineering at CU next year, most likely, and there's a big increase in kids applying to be in the engineering school, and specifically aerospace. So the more we can help our Douglas County kids get interested and participate in projects at Lockheed Martin within Douglas County, I think helps our workforce talent pipeline later. So it's kind of a small business procurement side and then the talent pipeline side.
Well, that's helpful. And for those that don't know what the Northwest Douglas County EDC is, maybe you could explain what that is for citizens and how many businesses you represent in that organization.
Sure. We are the Chamber and Economic Development for Northwest Douglas County. So we represent the unincorporated areas of the county, which is mostly Highlands Ranch, the 85 Corridor, Sterling Ranch, and Roxborough. We are a merged organization from a chamber and an economic development. So we have members that are mom and pop shops all the way to primary employers in our community. We have about 300 members of all sizes, and they're all represented on our membership advisory committee and our board of directors. So we advocate for business. And in Douglas County and Northwest Douglas County, we're partners with economic development organizations from Castle Rock, Parker, Lone Tree, Castle Pines, and Denver South. So we have a partnership in place, and they are all going to be aware of this Ignite Lab hopefully soon, and will be able to partner with us on it.
That's great. So we heard from two wonderful citizens that it sounds like they have small businesses. How many businesses do you represent?
Well, for our organization, 300 and all of the employees that work for those. So from small business to the large employers of Northwest Douglas County.
So large businesses, everything in between. So of those, you're really the representative for those 300 businesses. Is your organization, is the Northwest Douglas County EDC in support of this Lockheed Accelerator?
Our board hasn't taken a position, but if it's connected to our economic development strategic plan to support aerospace industry cluster, yes.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Anything additional from Lockheed Martin in terms of a response? Sure, Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I just want to acknowledge the two citizens who spoke. Again, valid concerns. I appreciate the point. And I think that if depending on what kind of business they're in, if they're interested, if they would like to talk with us, we're happy to. And it could be on two sides, right? There's if they are interested in aerospace and defense and getting into that line of work, and there's a lot of connections to that. A lot of people down in the supply chain may not know that the insulation they're making for this wire goes into a spacecraft, for instance. But even if they're not, I think the point that Amy brought up also was, with this lab being here, and with the projects that we hope will go into that lab and take off, literally, from that lab, that's people coming into Douglas County, staying in the hotels, spending money in the restaurants, those kinds of things. So we certainly hope that and believe that these kind of investments, and again, this is something that the county needs to see if they're interested in and see if it has value. We work with small businesses all over all the time, but I'll tell you what we're agreeing to do here with this public benefit is Douglas County businesses are at the top of that list. We do as much as we can anyway, right, as far as outreach and STEM events, but now we're formally committing to partner with Douglas County because that's what you asked for and thought would help both your students as well as the economy and small businesses in the area. So I want to respect their comments and acknowledge them. Thank you.
Mr. Rice, thank you so much for that response. Any additional questions or comments for Mr. Rice or the applicant or Ms. Sherman? Well, I would just echo those sentiments. I mean, I think it is just remarkable to think about the level of impact that partnership with such a significant aerospace leader like Lockheed Martin can do for Douglas County. We often say we are open for business in Douglas County, and we like to get out of the way as government and allow small businesses up to the largest businesses thrive and do well. We're just recovering from a significant COVID-19 pandemic where so many individuals lost jobs, lost revenue, lost businesses, lost their way of life. And a key component of that recovery is workforce and getting people back into sectors that can be really productive for them. We know that aerospace is tip of the spear. And as we have conversations around issues like Space Command and aerospace for Colorado, no doubt that increased partnership with Lockheed can only support maintaining that particular institution. So I'm thrilled to be in support of this application today. I hear nothing but significant public benefit. Let me bring it back to the board for any other discussion, or I guess we can bring it back for a motion as well. Any further discussion on this?
I do have some comments.
Commissioner Thomas?
So I first heard about this request when I was in Orlando, Florida at a Lockheed Martin facility. Lockheed Martin was involved in a launch of the Lucy spacecraft, and I was there with another commissioner, and we had been invited to Lockheed Martin's facility at Orlando. So while we were going through that facility, they mentioned that they were going to be coming back and asking us for money. And I thought, this is going to be difficult because I'm a fiscal conservative and I do not believe that corporate welfare is where your tax dollars belong. When I got back home, I did report on my Tracer honoraria and gifts report the trip to Lockheed Martin. So there's no misunderstanding that I went to that trip. I went to events sponsored by Lockheed Martin, and so I reported it on Tracer. I've known Joe for years. This isn't personal. This is about my principles. This is what I told the voters when one of the speakers read off my website, that I would be fiscally responsible with your tax dollars. And I don't think that reasonable people disagree about what conservative values are. And conservative values are spending precious taxpayer dollars for places they are required to be spent. giving a gift to a company that has a $9 billion gross profit on their website for 2021, I don't think is a reasonable, necessary expectation. When we met with Tim and staff, I had talked with them about the business personal property tax. That is an incentive program that Douglas County offers to all businesses. So we are not picking winners and losers. And they absolutely could use the business personal property tax incentive, but that's not what happened. So here we are. And even this morning when we were talking about the Board of Health signing contracts or the Board of County Commissioners signing contracts, one of my fellow commissioners said that he watches every single penny. So now we're going to see a lot of pennies go out the door to a publicly traded company. And again, this isn't against Lockheed Martin. I have been on committees since I have lived in Douglas County going back to 1999 with fabulous individuals from Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin has, because of their employment here, have many of their employees who serve on many different boards, commissions, volunteer efforts, and I have always found them to be highly committed, dedicated, smart people. So I agree that Lockheed Martin has brought a lot to our community, but that is not the reason for us to give them a gift of $500,000. This is not a grant program. There are no criteria that they met to get this money. They asked for the money, and I am saying no thank you. It is not right for your county government to give your tax dollars to a publicly traded company. Even though they say they're going to bring lots of business and lots of jobs and lots of education, that's what economic development corporations are for, to help other businesses get here. So I will be voting no on this item. Thank you.
Commissioner Teal.
Sir, if it pleases the board. Boy, that's like my second time today. If it pleases the board, I have a motion to approve a development partnership agreement between Douglas County and Lockheed Martin Corporation with a county contribution of $500,000, and I wish to speak in favor of the motion.
Second.
There's a first and second on the floor. Commissioner Teal.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, let me clear something up as far as I am concerned. Guys, this ain't a gift. This is an investment. And I fully expect this to be an investment, not just of us in Lockheed Martin, because we know you have many investors, as it's been pointed out today, but also your investment into Douglas County, which actually I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far. And I hope that this is an opportunity for you guys to contribute to Douglas County as we hopefully are contributing places for your employees to live and your management to live. One of the real points that I wanted to make, and the real reason why I am a yes vote, is I don't know how many can see this screen, but this is my text messages on my phone. I actually saw my very first text message in 1994. 1994. You know, Joe, you might have seen a text message in 1994 because I think I know what you were doing in 1994. You have talked about it much in your professional career. I was an Army officer, and I was on an exercise, and it was shown to me by a Special Forces soldier. Not a soldier in a special unit, I mean a Green Beret, a guy who wore the 2 tabs on his shoulder. And it was cool. It was a text message from his buddy saying, hey, when are the MREs getting here? And it was in a device that plugged in with a high voltage cable into a PRCC 77 radio that also had the hop set on it, and it had the encryption on it. That was very much like the very radio that I used as a rifle platoon leader. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And that's great that we're giving that instant communication capability, fully encrypted, to our Special Forces soldiers. It was, I think, 1998. I saw that very device, but without the high voltage cable, with, you know, and nice and shiny and silvery, with 2 big letters on the front of it, HP. And it was an HP Pocket PC. How many have owned an HP Pocket PC? We probably all have gray in our hair who have owned those, and those were probably our first devices that we got text messages on. And it was something that at that time was being debated quite a bit at the federal level, of the fact that our soldiers, our military personnel, were making use of devices 9 out of 10 times that were developed 10 years ago, even though they were brand new, landing in our hands within months. And so it initiated this very long discussion at the federal level about what can we do to accelerate the fact that we have a military procurement program that tends to take 10 to 20 years. But we have private sector, high-tech sector in America that's actually putting better technology in the hands of people today. So what I really liked about this opportunity, and it was something you guys were very clear on, that opportunity to bring in local vendors, possible vendors, before they've got the secret clearance and they can go through the gates at I'm totally spacing the name of their, the Waterton Canyon, exactly. And then there's something else. And it's something that I've seen a lot on the news the last few weeks related to the Russian invasion in Ukraine. People talking about, well, we got to cut off and stop buying Russian oil. As a matter of fact, we need to make more things in America today. We're not making enough things in America today. We got supply chain problems because everything that's being made, it's being made somewhere else. And it's coming in on a boat. That's the other thing I liked about the Accelerated Lab. The fact that you guys talked about making your supply chain American-based. So, hey, Brad, thanks so much for reminding me of the commitments that I made when running for this office. And I absolutely do appreciate that feedback. But in my opinion, I'm living up to those commitments because I think this $500,000 investment is an investment in our community, by all means, but I think it's also an investment in the very important national security role that we know that Lockheed Martin plays. I was under no misconceptions running for county commissioner that I would be opining professionally on the Russian-Ukrainian issue right now, despite my 10 years as a soldier and a military officer, and I think about that stuff a lot. I saw this as our opportunity, not to only do something for the employment and indeed the increased tax revenue, as Lockheed Martin is bringing teams in from around the country and locally into the lab, but also for us to actually do our little small part to make sure that Lockheed Martin is able to accomplish its mission. It's very important, not just space exploration, that's really cool. I like it. I'd like to go to a rocket launch as well, but the national security role that Lockheed Martin plays. So I speak enthusiastically in favor of this motion, and I do ask my colleagues to vote yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. Well, I mean, this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of no-brainers in Douglas County. And, our county manager, who's been here about 3 decades, when I brought this back from Florida, where I actually didn't accept any food or gifts, just showed up as my commissioner duties required, his immediate response was, absolutely, we need to do this. We're not giving a gift to Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is giving a gift to this county. I recognize that. I spent my life in the private sector, as did Commissioner Teal. I know the value of a dollar. I've signed the front of a paycheck. And I know what this means to the business community, particularly in aerospace, but in all business sectors. The kind of growth that this could mean in a positive way economically for this community was highlighted perfectly by Amy Sherman, who's been doing EDC in this community for an incredibly long time. So I'm pleased that the business community gets it. Like I said, we are open for business, and we're really excited about this partnership. When we talk about fiscal responsibility, we just issued the largest tax cut in the history of Douglas County, reducing our mill levy by 1.25 and returning $10 million back to the citizens of Douglas County. We are out of debt as of 2022. That is absolutely true. If you've heard anything to the contrary, it is false. Doug, are we accurate in saying that we're out of debt in 2022? Yeah, right. So we also have a balanced budget in Douglas County, so government can do that well. We are fiscally responsible with your dollars, and no government returns money back to citizens. It's pretty rare when that happens. And like I said, we just returned $10 million back to the citizens. This opportunity to partner represents 1% of our $511 million budget. And this board spends $511 million every year. Each member of this board is involved in that budgeting process, and we contract with the private sector constantly. Mr. DeBoard, how often are we involved in direct contracts with the private sector?
Frequently.
And what does that look like?
I don't have that number right in front of me, but
right.
It's large.
It's significant. So to pretend as though we don't engage with private sector contracts is somewhat arbitrary. I find it unbelievable we're even discussing it. But
That's
yes.
right. Yes.
Continue to watch.
That's right.
Watch exactly what happened today, whether it's actually fiscally responsible or just political theater. So we've got a first and second on the floor. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
And that motion passes 2-1. With that, we will move on to item B in our regular agenda, which is a resolution and intergovernmental agreement between the City of Castle Pines and the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas, State of Colorado, regarding a financial contribution for the paving and reconstruction of major roadways in Castle Pines. Douglas County project number CI 2021-040. We have Art Griffin.
That shows the area of the partnering project with the City of Castle Pines to improve Castle Pines Parkway from Yorkshire to Village Circle Drive. In the upper left corner is a reference map that shows where that is in relationship to I-25. Castle Pines Parkway was built and paved over 30 years ago. 2/3 of its 30-year pavement life occurred prior to the city incorporating in 2008. So we saw a lot of use out of that road. Castle Pines Parkway is a regional significant roadway, and it is an important link in maintaining a reliable transportation network in Douglas County for emergency vehicles, and just the public traveling east and west. As we see more and more of those trips occurring across, rather than just north-south, we extended Hess Road. So we value the importance of Castle Pines. Before you today is an intergovernmental agreement to share in improving and reconstructing that segment of Castle Pines. It includes providing 6-foot bike lanes, upgrading stormwater drainage system, adding turn lanes and signal upgrades at the Legay intersection. The project's estimated to cost $6 million, and the county is being asked to contribute 50% up to, but not to exceed, $3 million. Do you have any questions for engineering or myself?
Thanks, Art. Any questions for Art?
I have none. Thank you, Art.
And I don't have any questions either, Art. That must mean you did a phenomenal job, as you always do. Thank you for bringing this project forward. With that, is there any citizen comment on this item 4B? Okay, seeing none in the room, is there any online?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no online comment.
Okay, and with that, I will bring this item back to the board for any further discussion and/or a motion.
I have a motion to approve a resolution and intergovernmental agreement between the City of Castle Pines and the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas, State of Colorado, regarding a financial contribution for the paving and reconstruction of major roadways in Castle Pines, Douglas County, project number CI 2021-040.
Second and wish to speak in favor of the motion.
I have a first and second on the floor. Commissioner Teal.
So I rise to speak in favor of the motion. Thank you guys for giving us an opportunity to work on this. We do have the mayor of Castle Pines and the city manager of Castle Pines with us today. Thanks, guys, for actually, you guys, in my opinion, kind of did a lot of the work to bring this forward to something that Art could bring to us and that we could really work out and, give you guys the help. Art, I think you pointed out something very important. There was many years that the county got a lot of good service out of this road prior to the formation of Castle Pines as its own independent municipality. And so I do think it's a proper way to invest the public funds. And of course, Castle Pines, you'll owe the favor later, and you may be called upon to provide it. But I, for one, thanks for bringing us this opportunity to work together in partnership here in county government.
Well, I would just echo that, and a huge congratulations and thanks to Mayor Angerman, and welcome to the ongoing leadership responsibilities that we all share in the county. We're really thrilled to partner with you, and a huge thanks to Manager Penny. He's long been a wonderful partner to the county, and again, this has a regional significance that I'm really honored to support. So thank you for being here. Any further comments from the board? Okay, with that, we have a first and second on the floor. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Thanks, Castle Pines. We'll see you soon. And finally, on our regular agenda, we have item 4C, which is a resolution declaring March 2022 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Barbara Drake presenting for staff. I see Maureen Waller. Hi, Maureen.
Maureen Waller for staff. I am filling in for Barbara. Thank you for bringing forward this resolution declaring March 2022 as Developmental Disabilities Month. I'm sorry that we lost our guests. We had some folks here from from Tall Tales Ranch and Wellspring, but I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to see them in the future. As the resolution indicates, 20 years ago, in 2001, Douglas County voters approved a 1 mil property tax dedicated to services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The bulk of the property tax collected goes to Developmental Pathways, the county's state-designated community center board. For the state fiscal year of 2020-2021, Developmental Pathways received $6.8 million from the mill levy tax. Developmental Pathways served over 8,000 people, of which 31.11% were Douglas County residents, or about 2,500 folks. 80% of those that they serve are between the ages of from newborn to 18 years old. In addition to funding Developmental Pathways, the county provides a mill levy funded grant for community-based organizations that serve people of all ages with intellectual and developmental disabilities. For 2021, these grants went to 21 organizations to fund 32 different programs for a total of $405,306. Program grants range from $3,800 for a faith-based community activities and medical transportation program to $80,000 in support of a 28-unit integrated living community housing project. Douglas County has deep gratitude for these community service providers for their innovative programming and commitment to serving people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Most importantly, through this resolution, Douglas County strives to recognize and celebrate the diverse contributions, capacity, and value of Douglas County residents with intellectual and developmental disabilities as people that enrich and strengthen our county, and we honor their families as well. And I believe we have a video that we're ready to queue up.
Here we go.
Some say they can't,
Caramel,
but they do.
pumpkin. Dave, your order is ready. Let me go in.
Some say they're different or special, but aren't we all?
5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Good job.
I've just seen this confidence just bloom inside.
They are who they are because of your support, because of your vote. In 2001, the citizens of Douglas County made a decision to provide resources to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Because as a community, Douglas County values the incredible contributions that people with IDD make in the halls of government, in our churches, and in businesses just like this.
You were born, Mama said, the Lord bless you and keep you.
We are so thankful for your commitment.
Awesome. I mean, look around. Look what our stars are doing.
Whoa. Extra? Am I getting extra whipped cream?
We are really, truly changing the narrative of what it looks like to be an inclusive community.
I am an independent person. We are dancers. Arabesque.
We are all artists.
I earn my own paycheck.
Your first paycheck. We have video of many of our stars getting their first paycheck. You are amazing, Bailey. Yay! Pure joy.
I did something worthwhile.
Thank you. Got this. Having my own money makes me feel really good about myself.
They can do what they do because of you.
Good job. Dancing makes me feel strong.
Watching someone connect the dots and begin to live into that potential is one of the most joy-filled experiences I think I've ever seen.
Big hug for Lucia.
It just makes me proud, and I have to hold back tears sometimes of how proud I am.
People will come and hang out for hours here. And we literally have to say, we closed a half hour ago. Sorry.
We're better because they're a part of our community.
See you later.
Alligator.
Wonderful. Any additional questions or comments for staff? Well, I know we have Matt Van Auken from Developmental Pathways, and I know a lot more is to come, and many more comments and thoughts are going to be captured from your point of view. But I would just invite you to share with us anything from the IDD community that you would care to share with us. And thank you for your patience with our long meeting today. There's a lot.
Excuse me, it's my pleasure. Matt Van Auken. I live in El Paso County, so don't hold that against me, commissioners. But we do a lot of business in Douglas County and have now for going on 55 years. Developmental Pathways is a nonprofit organization that supports every single person that you saw in this video and about 8,000 others each and every year. And as Maureen mentioned, over 2,500 of those folks are Douglas County residents. And those 2,500 folks have families. And so the potential impact is over 10,000 individuals positively impacted in Douglas County with the mill levy funds that we have to support the incredible people that we get to support each and every day. I'm saddened that our friends weren't able to stay and speak with you directly today. But this was a pretty long meeting. I have a newfound appreciation for county staff and county commissioners. Thank you all very much for the incredible work that you do each and every day. As you might imagine, folks get confused when they think about developmental disabilities. It used to be easier to define years and years ago, and now the spectrum, no pun intended, really includes folks that have a developmental delay or a very profound disability. And so we recognize and go to church with and work with and meet with on a regular basis individuals with Down syndrome and individuals with cerebral palsy and autism. And some folks are easier to see in the community, but there are thousands of Douglas County residents that can do more than they can't. So as March is DD Awareness Month for the entire United States, also here in the state of Colorado, we are so thankful to you and county staff that you've allowed us the opportunity to highlight just a small glimpse of the incredible work that goes in to providing direct services and supports to those 2,500 plus people each and every year. That work is done American-made. It is done by individuals that live in Douglas County and that work in Douglas County. So dozens and dozens of provider agencies are provided grant dollars and additional monies that help them to stay open for business, even through COVID. They allow additional supports like durable medical equipment, an extra day perhaps of respite for those families. You all had the fantastic wherewithal not too long ago to be in this very room hearing directly from some of the families that are provided supports by developmental pathways and the DD Mill Levy grant dollars that are provided directly from the community development team here in Douglas County. And you heard how fortunate they all are to have family members with developmental disabilities, but you also heard the struggle and the hard work that goes in to having a family member who may very well live with you for your lifetime. So as a parent, having responsibilities for your child and your loved one throughout their lifetime it's a blessing, but it is also a lot of work. And so the mill levy monies that have been flowing to this community for over 20 years now allows folks to have jobs, allows them to live on their own, allows them to have transportation to and from community events, but it also gives a very needed break to the loved ones that help to also support them. So we have our mill levy report coming before you all in just a few weeks. We're excited to talk to you more directly and specifically about how those dollars are spent, that you've entrusted us as the stewards of those monies for over 20 years now. As a nonprofit executive director, I thought my job was hard until I attended this meeting today, and I genuinely appreciate the work that you all do in serving your citizens. So that's just a little bit about us, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments for Matt?
Matt, I'd just like to thank you for what you do for our special populations here in Douglas County. Last month, I was invited to a unified basketball game at Legend High School, and talk about joy on people's faces. And so, I know there are challenges, but I also understand the great joy that your staff find and satisfaction in working with our special people. So thank you.
Our pleasure.
Commissioner Teal?
Mr. Chair, I wonder if it would be appropriate at this time to introduce the resolution and then, of course, allow public comment upon it.
Yeah, we heard the resolution from Maureen. Did you not read from a portion of it? Okay, then let's go ahead and have Commissioner Teal read that resolution.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce a resolution declaring March 2022 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Whereas on February 26, 1987, President Ronald Reagan officially declared Proclamation 5613, making March National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in order to celebrate and recognize people with disabilities. And whereas many changes have occurred in society to support and maximize the independence of people with developmental disabilities to create a more inclusive society. And whereas in 2001, Douglas County voters approved a $1 mill property tax dedicated to services for persons with developmental disabilities, and collections of this property tax began in 2002. And whereas the county recognized the 20th anniversary of the Developmental Disabilities Mill Levy, which distributes 94.5% of the mill levy funds to support developmental pathways, the county's community-centered board, while retaining 5.5% for a competitive grant program that over the past 20 years has awarded more than $5 million in competitive grants to organizations delivering local services supporting Douglas County residents with intellectual or developmental disabilities, also known by the shortcut of IDD. And whereas people with developmental disabilities seek to achieve personal success through education, meaningful work, and family and community ties with the support of community members working towards removing barriers for them to achieve this goal. And whereas Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month recognizes the diverse contributions, capacity, and value of Douglas County residents with developmental disabilities in schools, workplaces, houses of worship, halls of government, and throughout all aspects of community life. And whereas celebrating the abilities and contributions of people with developmental disabilities can enrich our community, enhance our diversity, and strengthen our country. And whereas family members, friends, and community at large all play a role in supporting people with disabilities as they pursue their dreams, and whereas the goal of Douglas County includes help and satisfying lives, and to live as independently as possible. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas, Colorado, hereby declare March as National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month and commends the community organizations, agencies, and programs for their dedication, awareness efforts, and outstanding assistance towards improving the quality of life for Douglas County residents with developmental disabilities. This is introduced this day, 8th day of March, 2022 in Castle Rock, Douglas County, Colorado.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. I will entertain any further discussion and/or a motion. I'm sorry, Mr. Ingles? Some public comment, probably?
I thought you were going to read the resolution.
Resolution, and then let's open it up for public comment on this item 4C, the resolution. Is there any public comment in the room with regard to this resolution? Troy, do we have any public comment online?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have one hand raised but cannot verify it's this item. I'm going to go ahead and unmute for Bradley.
Yes, hey, this is Bradley Trady again, 6497 Mountain Manor Court, Parker. Commissioner Layden, you were wrong about, you said that agenda item A is the biggest no-brainer of no-brainers because this is...
Mr. Treaty, you're out of order. You're actually speaking to an item that is not on the agenda. I appreciate your comment, but you're not speaking to this particular issue. Troy, we can go ahead and move on to the next comment.
I am. I'm speaking to this.
Are you speaking to this item, Mr. Treaty?
This is the biggest no-brainer. This declaration for March 2022 being the Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, that video was moving, and I appreciate you for sharing it. And, you know, thanks to Matt for what you and your staff do with all those amazing people. With someone in my family, as well as my friends who have disabilities, and knowing that I live in a county that provides great disability services, we need to make sure that our county continues to help our citizens with developmental disabilities and continue to provide them the tools to help them continue to live the American dream in this amazing county that we live in. And for that, I strongly support this declaration 100%. I appreciate you, commissioners, for putting this forward, and God bless each one of you.
Mr. Treaty, thank you for commenting on that, and forgive me for if I thought you were commenting on something else on the agenda. I appreciate your input and engagement with us today. I invite you to continue to stay engaged. With that, is there any additional comment online, Troy?
I have no additional online comment.
Okay, and with that, I'll bring it back to the board for any further discussion and/or a motion.
Mr. Chair, so I was here in Douglas County in 2001 when we did pass the mill levy and began implementing it. And, you know, my kids were kids. We had other kids on our block here in Castle Rock, and we actually did have a disabled child who was, you know, a friend, our children's friend. His parents were our friends. We were all together in the community, and I had a front row seat to see the work that this funding has done. I took it for granted, I will admit, for many years, the dedication that this community has to supporting our residents, the people in our population who do live every day with developmental disabilities. So it's with great pleasure that I make a motion to approve a resolution declaring March 2022 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month.
Second.
There's a first and second on the floor. Any further discussion? I'll just include in my comments an incredible thanks to Matt Van Aken and for your comments here and your leadership, both as the head of developmental pathways and your statewide leadership. We know that well and are greatly appreciative for that. I have to say that, growing up in Colorado, people with IDD were often marginalized and treated as less than. And I think what we have all grown to realize is that they are some of the best people on the planet. And their kindness, their love, their compassion that they demonstrate, I think they're some of my favorite people. So I know the commissioners are looking forward to some one-on-one visits. We're going to be taking some tours and meeting with families that have this lived-in experience. So we're really With that, we will move to our county manager report. Doug DeBoard? Nothing? Any additional commissioner comments?
If I could, I would like to just remind or read something that was in the county manager report. And this highlights that it's the great staff that work in Douglas County that make Douglas County such a great place to live, work, and play. Congratulations to Douglas County employees Janet Herman, Director of Public Works, Lori Miskinnis, Public Works Engineer, and Adiana Aldridge, Senior Administrative Support Specialist, who were featured in the Colorado Public Works Journal as the top women in Colorado construction. So congratulations to our staff for being named. And Art, you can take that back, okay? Thank you.
Any additional commissioner comments? Okay, and with that, we will adjourn our meeting here, and then we will move into our land use meeting and public hearing in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
All right.